there. So I talk about a lot of guitars on my channel, and there's one I haven't really spoken about, although you've seen it on the channel if you've been on the channel at all, because this is probably my go-to guitar. This is the one that a lot of my cover versions and solo performances at home use. I do have kind of one go-to electric, my Stratocaster, and I have a 12 string I use quite a bit, but really this is the one that I play most of the time when I'm at home. And I've had this a number of years, and it's really an amazing and beautiful piece of equipment. So it's kind of an oversight that I haven't talked about this yet. This is my Takamine. It's an acoustic electric, and it's an EF340SC. EF340SC. It's a dreadnought shape, has a cutaway. It's solid mahogany is what they say, but you know, mahogany is a pretty broad term based on what I've seen when I do a little research online. Mahogany is used to describe a lot of different woods that maybe in the traditional sense aren't actually what mahogany used to mean. I'm not a wood expert, so I can't really offer much of an opinion on it, but for example, sapele is a wood that is often referred to as mahogany. But yeah, solid mahogany is what they say, and the specs online say it's a spruce top. I'm not sure this is a spruce top. It may not be the same wood as the rest of the guitar, but it's very close in terms of the color. It's extremely close. The grain looks a little different, but the color is very close. I think that's what makes this particular EF340SC very unique, is because unlike a lot of the spruce tops that you see online, where it has a kind of more pale yellow color on the top, along with the browner color back and sides and the neck, this has a more uniform color all the way across, and it's really beautiful. It's very rich. I'm told that the fretboard is rosewood based on the specs online, but if I cast my mind back to when I bought the guitar, if I'm not mistaken, the guy at Guitar Center told me that actually the fretboard here is a form of mahogany too. So maybe my memory is a little hazy on that. Either way, one thing that grabbed me off the shelf from this guitar immediately was the beautiful color. Just how amazing this thing looks. It's really, really gorgeous. The other thing that grabbed me is how well it plays, and it sounds beautiful. This is the second Takamine I owned. The first one I haven't talked about a whole lot on the channel, and I'm sure I'll probably crank it out at some point, but it was an acoustic, not an acoustic electric. And I was playing a lot of open mics back in those days in Dublin, and I really wanted some way to be able to plug it in, not have to mic it up all the time. So what I had done with that other Takamine is I installed my own pickup, my own sound hole pickup, and I drilled a hole in the back of it so that I could plug directly into the back of the guitar. And I used a drill that was a little bit fuzzy, so to speak, and it kind of vibrated the guitar a lot, and I wondered, did it do something just to the glue or to the way the guitar was held together, because I felt like I might have damaged the sound of it. So it kind of is no longer my favorite guitar, so to speak. This one, one of the reasons I bought it is because, as I said, that guitar kind of fell out of favor a little bit. Maybe it got a little dry too and warped a bit over time. Either way, I was kind of in the market for something new and I wanted to upgrade. This was a little pricey at the time, but when I played it, I just thought, this is the one I'm looking for, and it stuck with me for many years. So it definitely was a purchase that was justified. I've seen one of these on Reverb for $500, but it looks pretty beat up. I've seen them on Reverb going from $1,200 to $1,400 plus. I don't know if I remember paying quite that much for my original, but this particular model may not be as easy to come by. So no matter which style I play with this guitar, it always feels like it adapts pretty well, and I get a pretty good sound out of it, whether I'm just strumming, basic chords and doing kind of ballad singer stuff, or whether I'm doing some of the newer styles that I'm learning as I take a couple of semesters in music school, like things like bossa nova, which is not really a natural style for me, so it's kind of new stuff, and this guitar adapts pretty well to that. Or whether it's playing a little bit of blues, some finger picking. It capos pretty well too. I've battered it quite a bit with some heavier playing, and it stands up pretty well to that too. And right now I've got some D'Addario coated phosphor bronze strings on here that I just put on, and as I discovered when I was doing a little reading online, this is the string that's recommended for the guitar. I've tried a bunch of other brands. They all sound pretty good. Some of them sound a little duller, some a little too metallic-y and zingy. This particular string seems well suited for the guitar. It just captures the sound pretty well. It's got a good resonance, it's got a good body sound, it has a warmth to it, and a lot of high end as well, so it's really well balanced. And the other big thing that grabbed me when I looked at this in the guitar store and why I bought this was it's acoustic electric, so it does plug in directly at the back here, and it has what they call palathetic pickup and a CT4B2 preamp. So it's a specific piece of preamp hardware in there on top of the pickup. In trying it in the store, this gave me the same feeling that my 12 string gives me. When I plug the thing in, it doesn't feel like the sound plugged in is radically different to the sound unplugged, which I find happens a lot when you buy a separate pickup and put it in the sound hole, or when you buy other acoustic electric instruments. Often, it does plug in, it is electric, but then it sounds like a different instrument when you plug it in. What I found with this one, the same way with my Taylor 12 string, is plugging it in, the electronics and the way they've invested a lot of thought and time into how to amp the thing up, it really feels like they've done a good job of staying faithful to the original pure unplugged sound. And that was really exciting when I tried it out, and that was a convincing factor, even though it was a little bit pricier than maybe what I was looking to go with. You've got a good little equalizer, high, mid and low end, and a volume control, so you can actually adjust. And sometimes if the sound is too bright or sparkly, you can bring the high end down and bring the bass up, so that gives you a little bit of control over how the thing sounds. And the volume control too, also you can control that here. It also has a built-in tuner, which is super cool, as long as the battery stays fairly well charged. Sometimes the battery can still feel like it has a charge in there, but then what I find is the tuner doesn't seem to work as well. So it's good to just keep the battery fresh. There is a headphone socket coming out of there too, so I guess you could use that. I can't really envision a time when you'd want to be getting a headphone feed from the guitar itself, as opposed to maybe from your audio interface or from your laptop or wherever else you're putting the sound into. But it is there. So plugging it in and just hearing how it sounds through my Vox Practice amp. By the way, this is an amazing practice amp. I did a little review of it recently, tried out some of the presets and what have you. Check it out. It's inexpensive and it's awesome. These combined, pretty good. So here's the unplugged sound of the guitar, and then like I said, the sound to my ears coming from the amp, it's not that different to the pure sound of the guitar. It's just amplified and louder, right? So that's really awesome, because often when you get an acoustic electric and you plug it in, it doesn't sound as sweet, doesn't sound as beautiful, or maybe just sounds different, and you want to control your sound. You want predictability, you want to know what kind of sound you're getting. And as I said, you can adjust a little bit too. So, okay, maybe that's a little bright. Let me bring the high end down and bring the mid and the low up a little bit. So that's the high end pretty high, bring it all the way down. Just gives you a little more control over the sound. So again, even plugged in, no matter what style you kind of approach it, it just has a rich, beautiful, full, resonant, warm sound. It's just got every element of the sound that you want. It doesn't sound too harsh or too tinny or too trebly. It doesn't sound too bassy. It doesn't sound too distorted. It doesn't sound too different from how it is when it's unplugged. So it's a complete package. This is a guitar you can play at home on your own. It's a guitar you can go play the open mic where they mic you up, or it's a small enough room where you can just belt it out. It's a guitar you can take to the recording studio. I've used this in a lot of my own records, and it's a guitar you can plug in and amp up, or plug into the soundboard and take it to your professional gig. So it's the complete package, beautiful sound, one of my favorite guitars. And if you can get your hands on something similar to this, if you're looking for pretty good medium to high end range acoustic electric, I would highly recommend seeking out a current version of the Takamine EF340SC or something equivalent thereof. So that's what I wanted to just talk about today for a little bit. And if you like what you see on the channel, as always, do click that like button and hit subscribe, and the little bell icon, you want to hit that and it'll make sure that you get notified whenever I post new videos. As always, I appreciate everybody who watches my videos, and I hope to see you again in a new one.